So when you speak to defunding the police, you're speaking to eliminating services, which would go right down to the core services, which is going to affect those communities the most.
Right.
When they call 911, they need a response, because absent law enforcement, what happens in our society is the most aggressive and the most violent person becomes in charge, because people do not want conflict. People do not want to have, disagreements, physical conflict, etc.
Right.
They would rather just be passive and let things happen. And when you remove law enforcement, you just gave a green light to the most violent elements of society to take over. And that couldn't be more clear than what we saw happening in Seattle.
Yes.
When you have such a weak elected official that says, we're going to give you the streets, you can have your own territory. Then when people are being assaulted and killed, they're blaming the police for not being there. And you're seeing this similar mentality with, the mayor in New York City, who is an absolute disgrace.
Absolutely.
He doesn't support the men and women who do the job every day, but he doesn't give up his security detail that's protecting him every day. You had elected officials right up to our governor who were happy to jump on this anti-police bandwagon and pass legislation that was hurtful and detrimental to law enforcement officers personally and their careers. Right? They don't give up anything. Yeah. I didn't see them adding themselves to the full disclosure laws that they wanted to pass. I don't see them giving up their security details. I don't see them giving up anything. They're playing to an angry mob. And BLM is just a radical group that's threatening people right now, and these weak, pathetic elected officials are caving into it.
Amen to that. I mean, again, that was it in a nutshell. We're seeing that. The Black Lives Matter, if they have any sincere individuals, they're certainly not the ones in the cameras. They're not the ones with the microphones. They're threatening our police officers. We played a clip yesterday from, I think, Hawk Newsom, who's the head of the New York chapter, that basically said, if we don't get what we want, we're going to burn the system down. That's not the dialogue that we have in this country under the First Amendment.
And they have the ability to say that with no reprisal from anyone, because everybody is afraid. They can call you any name they want. If you don't agree with them, they label you a racist because you don't agree with them, and our elected officials succumb to that. They should stand up to that. That's extortion. They need to stand up for what's right. Either you took the job to do it or you took it to have it. And clearly, we're looking at certain elected officials in this state that don't want to do their job. They just want the title that comes with it. Right. And they're pathetic.
Right. And again, to see and witness what's taking place right now. But I'm a glass is half full guy, and I believe it is going to turn around for the country. Again, I'm happy to be here in Suffolk County to see the support. And as you heard from many of our listeners calling in, there's no nonsense there. We love our police. We want to back our police departments and so on. And it starts literally with the patrol officers on who you represent, Noel.
And we have the best police officers in this nation. We have an extensive hiring process, screening process, the academy. Everything that we do is geared to bring in the most qualified individual to perform the highest level of service. And that's what our residents have become accustomed to, and they deserve.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what they get from Suffolk County.
Let's take another call. We got Andrew over there in Lake Grove. Andrew, you're on the air.
Tom, I must agree we have a very good police force, but what is frightening is when New York City goes down, it's going to endanger us.
Yes.
You go back to the 70s, and you had all those robberies on the South Shore towns like Merrick or Belmore, because people could take a quick drive from Brooklyn on the Bell Parkway and do that. Things spill over and can't grow.
That's right.
I think our greatest problem, and I don't know if the people in the state understand it, is the toxic relationship between the governor and the mayor.
Yeah.
I mean, the governor put down the mayor for defunding the police, but then everything that happens as far as violence and this is okay with the governor. So the governor speaks out of two mouths.
Yeah.
When he could put down de Blasio, he put down de Blasio. And where he could play technocrat, he plays technocrat. But it doesn't make sense. I think the best thing for him to do would be to fire de Blasio and put something on better
he can't.
He thinks it is. If it goes good, Cuomo's the hero. If it goes bad, Cuomo owns it and let him own it in the next election.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately, governor can't fire anybody. It's going to be up to you and me and all the voters to vote locally here and decide who we want as our elected officials. And as long as they have common sense public policy initiatives and not doing crazy things like taking money away from our police, then we're all going to be okay. But other than that,
why did Cuomo say he could remove de Blasio?
I don't know.
He did say that at a press conference. I don't know where he believes that authority comes from. But
you know what? That's dangerous. But I'd love to see him do it. Then he owns.
I don't think he can, though. I mean, maybe a recall election. He could organize a recall. But I don't even know if you could do.
Listen, I don't know that you would trust the governor's judgment in that point either. I mean, this is a man that welcomes.
No, he talks out of both mouths.
Well, he welcomes mob rule and don't enforce any type of social distance or face coverings at these violent rallies, but let's enforce it at a house of worship.
Yeah, and that's what they're saying. Andrew, thank you so much. Noel, we just have a minute or so left. Final thoughts on your part. Again, being an optimist. Will this movement, really anti-police movement, nationwide, not here in Suffolk County, you think again it'll die down and we'll start to see, similar to the great days of right after 9/11, how people just loved our police and so on?
It's unfortunate that, people have short memories, and they're very short. We can talk about 9/11 and how people, tend to forget that. Yeah. So short that they forget while the entire nation was sheltering in place a few weeks ago, police officers weren't. They were going to work day in and day out, serving everyone. They were going to the COVID-19 emergencies. They were running to people's houses that were sick. They were still responding to 911 calls. They didn't shelter in place. They didn't go home and say, okay, I'm going to work via Zoom. Every single day, they went to work and they exposed themselves to the virus. And in a matter of weeks, everyone forgot that and vilified them, and it's disgraceful.
We're going to take a short break. I'm with Noel DiGerolamo, president of Suffolk County PBA. Take a short break. We'll be right back.